I was never alone on patrol. I took the job because I needed something stable after my divorce. Night security, apartment complex, graveyard shift. It sounded simple, quiet, predictable. What I didn't understand was that the building didn't want a guard, it wanted a witness. The place was called Maplewood Towers, a 12-story apartment building outside St. Louis. Built in the early 1960s, concrete exterior, long interior hallways with the same stained carpet on every floor. No windows in the stairwells, the kind of building where sound doesn't travel right. During the day, it felt tired. At night, it felt alert. My shift ran from 10:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. I worked alone. My duties: monitor cameras, patrol every floor once per hour, check stairwells, respond to noise complaints. The property manager, Diane, gave me the keys and said one thing before leaving: if you feel watched, don't look for what's watching you. I laughed. She didn't. My first night was quiet. Too quiet. No TV noise, no footsteps, no late-night arguments. The building felt hollow, like everyone had moved out without telling me. At 11:47 p.m., I started my first patrol. The elevator ride was slow, longer than it should have been. When the doors opened on the 6th floor, the hallway lights flickered as if reacting to my presence. I walked past doors numbered 601 to 608. Every door was closed, except 614. It was open just enough to show darkness inside. I checked my tenant list. 614 was vacant. I closed the door. When I turned around, it was open again. I didn't touch it a second time. By 1 a.m., I noticed something strange on the monitors. Every camera showed normal hallways, but on each feed, in the very far corner, there was a shape. Not a person, more like a distortion. Like the image itself was bending around something that shouldn't be there. When I zoomed in, the shape vanished. When I zoomed back out, it returned, always in the corner, always watching. At 1:32 a.m., the desk phone rang. "Security," I answered. A woman whispered, "Why are you standing outside my door?" "What unit are you in?" I asked. 804. I checked the cameras. The hallway outside 804 was empty. "I'm not there," I said. There was a pause. Then she said very slowly, "Then who is breathing?" The line went dead. Maplewood Towers had mirrors at the end of each hallway. Cheap safety mirrors, cracked and yellowed with age. On my third patrol, I noticed my reflection was wrong. Not distorted, delayed. I stopped walking. My reflection took one more step. I raised my flashlight. The reflection didn't. It smiled, not with its mouth, with its eyes. I turned away and kept walking, heart pounding, refusing to look back. I started reading the old night logs. That's when I realized the pattern. Every entry written by a female guard eventually changed. Shorter sentences, messier handwriting, same phrases repeated. "Feels crowded tonight. I think I passed myself on the stairs." The building knows my route. The last guard's final entry read, "If you're reading this, don't learn the building. It learns back." No resignation. no termination, just an empty line. After 2 a.m., I started hearing footsteps during my patrols, not behind me, beside me, matching my pace exactly. When I stopped, they stopped. When I walked, they walked, always just outside my field of vision. I tried talking. "I know you're there," I said. The footsteps continued, then quietly in my own voice. "So do I." The calls started pointing to the same unit. 614, always 614, crying, walking, furniture moving. It was still listed as vacant. At 3:18 a.m., I stood outside the door again. This time it was wide open. The apartment was furnished. My furniture, my couch, my coffee table, my framed photos. On the wall hung a photo of me in uniform, smiling, taken from inside the apartment. I stepped back. The door slammed shut, locked from the inside. I checked the cameras. Every hallway showed me, walking, checking doors, doing my job. But I wasn't where the cameras said I was. I was in the security office. The camera version of me stopped walking, slowly turned toward the camera, and stared. I found her in the stairwell, barefoot, hair loose, uniform worn thin. She looked exhausted. She looked relieved to see me. "You stayed too long," she said gently. "That's how it works." "What are you?" I whispered. She smiled sadly. "I'm the part that learned the building." The lights went out. I woke up sitting in my car at sunrise. My uniform was folded neatly in the passenger seat. My badge was missing. When I called Diane, she sounded calm. "Oh," she said, "you didn't show up for your shift last night?" "I was there," I said. She paused. "No," she said slowly. She was. "I don't take night jobs anymore. I don't live in apartments, but sometimes when I wake up at night, I can feel myself walking hallways I don't remember, turning corners I've never seen, and somewhere in a building that looks ordinary during the day, a woman in a security uniform is doing her rounds, learning, waiting. Because once an apartment complex memorizes your footsteps, it never forgets them.
I never wanted to live in a house with a basement. That should have been my first warning. But when you're 34, recently divorced, and trying to start over in a town where you don't know anyone, you stop listening to instincts and start listening to rent prices. The house was cheap. Too cheap. A 2-story place on the outskirts of a small Illinois town called Briar Hollow. Quiet neighborhood. Trees packed so close together they blocked most of the streetlight. The landlord said the previous tenant moved suddenly. I didn't ask why. I should have. The basement door was in the kitchen, old wood, warped, painted over so many times it barely closed right. During the day it looked harmless. At night it looked like something waiting. The landlord told me casually, "Basement's unfinished, you won't need to go down there." That wasn't reassuring. On my first night, I locked the door. By morning, it was unlocked. I told myself I must have forgotten. I told myself a lot of things in that house. The noises started on the third night, soft, rhythmic. Like someone shifting their weight on concrete, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, counting my breaths. The sound came from directly below me, from the basement. I grabbed my phone, checked the time, 2:14 a.m., then I heard it. A slow exhale, Not through pipes, not through vents, from the floor. I didn't move until sunrise. After that, I started noticing the steps. The staircase down to the basement had 13 steps. I counted them the first time I went down during daylight, flashlight shaking in my hand. Concrete walls, exposed beams, dirt floor in the far corner, nothing unusual. That night, lying in bed, I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate. I counted. 1, 2, 3. They stopped at 12. Every night after that, the same thing. Never the 13th step. On the 6th night, I heard my name clear as day. Daniel. Not shouted, not whispered, spoken like someone testing how it felt to say it. I sat up so fast I felt dizzy. Hello? I called. Silence. Then softly. Daniel Mercer. My full name. I didn't answer. The voice didn't repeat itself, like it didn't need to. I found the note on the basement door the next morning, scratched into the paint with something sharp. You don't come down anymore. My hand shook as I backed away. I didn't call the landlord, I didn't call the police. I told myself someone was messing with me. I was lying. I finally looked up the house online. Buried in an old forum post, I found a name. Michael Grayson, the previous tenant. Someone commented under the post, he said the basement knew things, said it talked back. Another comment, police never found him. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. Then I heard the basement door creak open. I don't know why I went down. Curiosity, fear, or something else guiding me. The basement smelled different now, warmer. Like a body had been there too long. At the bottom of the stairs, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. Handprints. On the concrete wall, pressed in like the wall had been soft. They were at shoulder height, mine. There was a mirror in the far corner. I swear it hadn't been there before. Tall, narrow, dirty. I stepped closer. My reflection lagged, just slightly. I raised my hand. It didn't. It smiled and spoke. You're late, it said, in my voice. After that night, the basement didn't hide anymore. It talked. At first, it asked questions. Why did you leave her? Do you miss being watched? You sleep better when someone knows you're there. Then it started telling me things. Things no one else knew. Things I never said out loud. I tried to leave. The front door wouldn't open. The windows wouldn't break. The basement door, though, it opened easily, invitingly. I stood at the top of the stairs, shaking. From below, I heard footsteps. 13, finally. The basement wasn't haunted. It wasn't cursed. It was unfinished. A place where something stopped becoming human. Something that needed a structure, a routine, a name. Michael had stayed too long. Now it wanted me. I started keeping a journal. This is my last entry. The basement learned my voice. It uses it better than I do now. I hear myself downstairs, walking, breathing, practicing. Soon I won't be needed upstairs anymore. If you're reading this, don't rent cheap houses and never trust a basement that already knows your name. I don't remember going down, but I remember the steps, all 13 of them.
I was hired to watch the building. It was watching me first. I took the night security job because it paid more, and because I needed to prove something to myself. Everyone assumed I couldn't handle it. "You'll be alone all night," the supervisor warned. "I know," I said. "In an apartment complex this old," he added, "people hear things." I didn't ask what he meant. That was my first mistake. The place was called Hawthorne Court Apartments, a 6-story brick complex just outside Cleveland, Ohio. Built in the 1950s, long hallways, narrow stairwells, a single underground parking garage that smelled like oil and rust. During the day, it looked tired but harmless. At night, it felt awake. My shift was 10 o'clock p.m. to 6 o'clock a.m. No partner, no backup unless I called the police. My job was simple: watch the cameras, patrol every floor twice a night, respond to resident complaints. The manager, Mr. Collins, handed me the keys and said one thing before leaving. "If a resident tells you they've already seen you tonight," he said, "don't correct them." I laughed, waiting for the punchline. It never came. The first few nights were quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet where the hum of the light starts to sound like whispering if you listen too long. On my 4th night, around 1:17 a.m., camera 6 flickered. It covered the 3rd floor west hallway. I leaned closer. A woman was standing at the far end of the hall. She wore a dark security uniform. My uniform. She wasn't moving. I radioed out of habit. "Unit checking 3rd floor. Identify yourself." No response. Then the woman lifted her head. Even through the grainy camera, I knew. That was my face. The phone rang immediately after the camera went black. "Security," I answered, my voice shaking. A man whispered, "You just walked past my door again." "What unit are you in?" I asked. 3W, he said. "Please tell her to stop staring." My stomach dropped. I was still in the security office. "I haven't left the desk," I said. There was a pause. Then the man said very softly, "Then who is she?" The line went dead. I tried grounding myself by checking the old logbooks. That's when I noticed something wrong. Every night shift before mine had been covered by women. Different names, different handwriting, same notes, resident reports, female guard in hallway, unconfirmed movement after patrol, reflection delay in mirrors, 3rd floor. The last guard's entries were barely legible. Her final line read, "I stayed too long." She learned me. There was no resignation letter, no termination record, just silence. Hawthorne Court had mirrors at the end of every hallway. Cheap, warped, meant to help residents see around corners. On my 7th night, I noticed something disturbing. My reflection moved a half-second too late. I stopped walking. The reflection took one more step. I raised my hand. It hesitated. Then it smiled. I ran back to the security office and locked the door. The cameras showed empty hallways, except for one. Camera 6. The 3rd floor mirror reflected a woman standing behind the camera, watching. At 2:42 a.m., a resident called about crying. "Sounds like a woman," she said. "She's sobbing in the stairwell." Against every instinct I had, I grabbed my flashlight and went. The stairwell smelled damp, cold. The crying echoed from below. "Hello," I called. "This is security." The crying stopped. Footsteps replaced it. Coming up, slow, bare. Then I saw her. She stood one landing below me. Same height, same build, same face. Her eyes were darker, deeper, like she hadn't slept in years. "You shouldn't fight it," she said in my voice. "That's when it hurts." The lights went out. I woke up sitting at the security desk. The clock read 5:58 a.m. My uniform was damp with sweat. The radio crackled. "Morning shift checking in," a male voice said. I stood to leave. The door wouldn't open. The cameras turned on. Every screen showed me, walking the halls, checking doors, doing my job. Behind me, in the reflection of the dark monitor, a woman sat calmly in the chair, wearing my badge. She looked up and smiled. "Thank you," she said. I was getting tired. I woke up in my car in the parking lot after sunrise. My badge was gone. When I called Mr. Collins, he sounded relieved. "I'm glad you decided to move on," he said. "I didn't quit," I whispered. There was a pause. Then he said, "Yes, you did." She signed the log. I don't work security anymore. I avoid night jobs. But sometimes when I pass Hawthorne Court after dark, I see a woman in uniform standing by the entrance. She looks alert, professional, like someone who belongs there. And every time she turns slightly, just enough, to remind me that the building didn't want protection. It wanted a woman who would stay awake forever.